Hey, welcome back to Generation X Nation. Thank you to all my new subscribers. To anybody who leaves a comment, I promise I'll respond back, good or bad. Just leave a comment. Hit the like button, share, subscribe to my channel. Now, with that being said, you've seen the thumbnail is Love and Marriage Huntsville. Y'all know how I feel about this show. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Sometimes a little toxic, but I'm going to go ahead and do my commentary. Again, my commentary is, as I always say, alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Keyword, in my opinion. We all are entitled to it. Doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It just means my opinion. Our opinions are based on our life experiences. Keep that in mind, people, okay? Now, we're going to make this one real quick because it wasn't a lot to cover, but we're going to get into that manscape. Outside of that, I'll talk about the Nell, Destiny, Lance, and Antoine whole scenario. I don't know what they got going on there, but child, phew, it's a lot. But we'll start out with the Lance and the Destiny thing. I'm going to get that cleared up. But I want to get a bigger deep dive into the whole all the men meeting up at the golf place and the conversations that they had. Now, the whole thing that I can piece together based on my experience and my opinion, and remember, my commentary is done week to week. Okay, based on the episodes that air. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't like anybody any less or more than the next person. One week I can like your actions, and next week I can dislike your actions. It just depends on what they play on the television. I also understand that these shows are edited to make people look a certain way, so I do take that into consideration. All right. Again, it's my opinion, alleged, and it's for entertainment purposes only. All right. So let's get started. Hey, first thing we're going to talk about is this Lance and his Destiny meetup. From what I got out of that meetup, Lance said nobody knew about this baby, not even his parents. So Destiny was trying to act like Nell knew and they was hiding it from her. No, nobody knew, according to Lance, because he wasn't even sure it was his child. But what I did notice is Destiny was right, and I will give her credit on this one. Lance, you should have never posted the baby on social media and not informed Destiny first if y'all were dating or having some type of relationship. I think Lance was a little more invested in Destiny than he would like to mention because he kind of alluded to it. He was catching feelings for Destiny. I don't know if Destiny knew or not, but Destiny just kept saying, "We're just dating. I'm just dating." So I think Lance was hurt a little bit and felt Destiny played in his face. Now, Destiny accused all of them of leaving LA because the baby was being born. And of course, Lance dismissed that and said, no, that wasn't the case. It seems to me, when they were showing the flashbacks, that Lance was a little hurt behind what was said on the stage at the reunion when Carlos questioned Destiny about the relationship. And she said, we're just dating. And then Nell felt that Destiny wouldn't be a good mate for her son. I think that hurt Lance because I think Lance actually did like Destiny. And I don't think Destiny, I don't know, maybe Destiny just planned it off, didn't want people to know she really liked Lance. But I think Lance really liked Destiny and he was a little conflicted because he knew he had this baby on the way that nobody knew about. Lance, you was wrong. You should have told her about the baby. Even if you didn't know it was yours, you should have said, hey, there's a girl out here that's saying she has my child. We have a long history. We've been knowing each other for a while. Because even your mother said, hey, that particular girl he had a history with, they've been knowing each other for a long time. So it's not like she was some strange one night stand. Apparently, y'all been around each other. So, Lance, you kind of you kind of screwed up that Destiny too. I mean, both y'all were a little wrong in that behavior. I felt Destiny should have told him how she really felt. If she really was feeling him, she should have said something. Because for you to not be in your feelings with Lance, but all upset because he had a baby is just kind of weird to me. Because you kept saying we're dating, we're dating. Then he has a baby, and you act like y'all was in a relationship. So were y'all dating or were y'all in a real relationship? Because what I can see from Lance, he seemed like he was catching feelings for you, like going toward a relationship. Because it seems to bother him that you want to date his homeboy slash god brother Antoine, who they call Twan. He said he gave you his permission and his blessing, but I think he's saying that to save face, but I don't think he really wants you to date him, Destiny. You need to think about that. That's kind of too close to comfort for me. That's just my opinion. All right. All right, so they go to the whole golf place where all the guys are meeting up, the manscape where everybody's meeting up at. And everybody's walking in, dapping each other, everything looks good. One thing I thought was funny was Lance is standing there. Martell comes over and start having a conversation, asking him about the baby. The baby is apparently 12 weeks old. So kudos to Lance for taking care of a baby that young, because I don't know how many men would do that. He's asked him, how you feeling? Are you tired? Are you getting a lot of rest? And, Lance was telling him, yeah, I'm tired, but hey, basically he got to do what he got to do. Of course, Martell brings up the whole Destiny thing. How does Destiny feel about it? He told him, hey, we had a conversation and I guess we parted our separate ways, but he felt a little way because she's into one of his homeboys. And Martell kind of looking like, what? Like he's shocked. I'm sure Martell knew. Um, then Martell and Maurice starts to give Lance some advice. He tells Lance, man, you might need to strap up. Martell, you telling somebody to strap up, but you had a side baby? Why did you strap up? Like, really? You already had four kids. And then you had a fifth one by your side chick, but you telling somebody else. If anybody needed to strap up Martell, it probably should have been you. Maurice tells him, hey, clip, clip, burn, whatever. Basically advising him to get a vasectomy. Lance is pretty young. And one day he may meet his queen or the girl he wants to marry, and she may or may not want a kid. Lance, don't listen to him. I know you got three kids and all of that, but it's a little early to make that type of decision because you still have a chance to find somebody that you can marry and spend your life with, and that person may or may not want a child. Now, if you find somebody and they don't want a child because they already have children and y'all just gonna co-parent y'all children together and have a blended family, then so be it, knock yourself out. But don't you sit there and listen to Maurice. Okay, and the only reason Maurice did that real quick to say that, and they did a flashback where he doing it, and that gives Maurice the free rein to run through Huntsville and do whatever he wants to do and not get caught, including staying out all night, driving drunk, hitting a tree, a pole, and an animal, and getting arrested at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But nobody know where you was at for like 12 hours. But I digress. All right, so then after that, all the men go and they sit down at the table and have this conversation. And first thing Martell does, well, not Martell, we'll get with Ken. Ken's friend Will, I like him. He's funny. I think he should be on the show more often. Hell, I can look at him without Ken. Will is funny to me. But anyway, he sits down and he starts talking about him and Trish. And, you know, I don't know if this is gonna work. Trish needs help. She acts crazy even when Marquez is not around. He gets into this big old thing about Trish and, they may need some time away from each other. Just leave us alone. Like when I say take us out of the group chat with you, Trish, and Marquez, please do. Because everything you saying, people already been telling you. Trish ain't stable. Something wrong with her. Y'all moving too fast. He talking about, I don't know if what's his name? Marsau said if she's divorced, would you go ahead and marry her? I don't know if I want to marry her now. She already told you she didn't want to marry you. That was sad. So all of a sudden you changing your mind. Can't go somewhere. In the words of Fred Sanford, you big dummy, go somewhere and sit down. And again, I'm assuming they still together to this day. I don't follow them on social media like that. I hear they break up. I hear they back together. I do know there was a clipping showing Trish divorce was final and Ken and cannot be in the house with the kid. And I'm thinking they're talking about the young daughter because the older son should be in college. But that you set yourself up for that, Ken, when you kept bragging in that man's face saying, I got your family. They live in my house. I take care of your kids. You shouldn't have been bragging like that. Because all you did was fuel that fire. And any judge can tell a person who's not legally married to the other person that they can't be around the kids. And there's nothing you could do about it. So now you feel stupid. Are you paying the rent at her house and living somewhere else now? Because apparently y'all can't live together. You in the same boat as dumbass Martell. Y'all are two, I don't know, short yellow bus people, I just call it. So anyway, Ken feels like he's being disrespected and all of that. Just leave it alone. Now, we're going to move on to the whole Martell. Well, we're not going to move there yet. I'm sorry. There was one more incident there. Martell was sitting down at the table and he felt the need to ask everybody about Arion. Go figure. I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel like Martell and Arion sat down and had a conversation because for some reason those two are made for each other because they always plotting together. I feel like they sat down and had this conversation because if you guys can remember some of Arion's interviews, she was always talking about the storyline is evolved around me. My name is always mentioned on the show. I need to be on the show. And then she attempted to, I guess, reach out to Own Network or Carlos King, demanding her name be all that craziness, you know. And the people on the show at that time was never saying her name. And I don't know if it was because the ex-wife was on the show and did not want that name to be said because she was, producing or whatever, but it was just odd to me. So fast forward, in that particular scene, I think her name was mentioned at least about 5 times. So I guess they feel free to say her name now. Um, and I feel like she probably said, Martell, you gotta stop letting them call me the baby mama and the side piece and call me by my name on the show. So I think that happened. And Martell said, I'm gonna make sure they say your name. They're gonna stop calling you side pieces and whatever. And so now he says her name. I also think that he says it to try to soften the blow for the fans to make us start being interested and possibly liking her and to ease it into our minds so he can start filming with her so we could see them together. So maybe he'll slowly call her on the phone while the cameras is rolling so we can hear her voice or maybe pick her up from somewhere so we can see. I just think he's trying to ease her into that show, but he's trying to test the waters and see how we feel about her name being brought up a lot. And I think the cast members are catching on to that. And every time her name brought up, you kind of see how they look. I don't think the wives or significant others of the men are willing to sit down and film with her only because they know the backlash that they would receive over social media and everything. I don't think the people who run that show will put her on that show because if they lost viewers, I think they would lose even more viewers. But in Martell's peanut brain and Arion's peanut brain, they really believe that her bringing her on the show would really be a good thing. They are really delusional as to how people really feel about both of them. But anyway, let's get back to the scene. So he goes around the table asking everybody, do they know anything about her? And every guy was either they don't know her or they met her once or twice. And I'm sure they met her through Martell at maybe an event somewhere or maybe ran across her in the store. Um, but it was kind of funny when Ken's friend Will said, I met her before. Yeah, she came to my house to train. And Martell eyes buckled up real quick. And then everybody started laughing, and Marsau said, "Did you train? Whatever." And then he started laughing, like, "No." And then Kim was like, "Oh, she pulled a Trisha on you." And I'm like, "Why was you upset, Martell? Because that's the exact same thing you did to Ken. I met Trish before. She came to my house to train. Like, and he was upset about that. But I'm like, do you even notice that that's the exact same way you behaved and the exact same way you talked to Ken when you first met him with Trisha? Martell, when I say this person lacks self-awareness, it is just crazy the amount of self-awareness he lacks. So then after they do that, he said, well, I just want to know because, I want to make sure I know what I'm dealing with. I don't want to be with nobody that's going to be lying to me all the time and lying to me. And I'm assuming he's talking about his ex. Then he throws in, well, people said stuff about her like, yeah, we know about your girl. She out here doing blase in these streets or whatever, referring to the flashback of Marsau and them at the adult game day they had that Destiny put on. And Marsau just sitting there and you could see he getting steamed. He just getting steamed just a little bit. Because when Marsau walked in that door, he said, hey, I'll throw the gas or you light the fire, something to that effect. He said, I am not here to play anybody games. You come for me, I'm coming for you. Marsau is on a different level when it comes to Martell. And I don't blame him because he's sick of him and his bullshit. Okay. So they do the flashback of the thing in the park. And then he said, hey, I was there. I watched it. I watched somebody F your wife. So what? First of all, that's stupid and ignorant. Why are you sitting there watching this childish and this dumb? And I know it was your college days, but why would you sit here and say that on TV about that young lady? You're wrong for that. Secondly, whatever relationships that Letitia had before she met Marceau ain't got nothing to do with Marceau. Ariana had a whole relationship with somebody because she got a baby. So she was laying up with somebody prior to too. Just because it was somebody you happen to know. We know Huntsville is a small town, apparently, because you guys are the only available men around, from what I can gather. You know? So of course Martell gotta say his thing. And Marceau, I could tell, is sitting there burning. He wants to cuss him out. Now, mind you, Martell has just said in front of all these men that he watched his friend F his wife. Marceau should have punched him immediately. Marceau said, hey, uh, Martell probably went back home to old girl. Did you put everything out there? Let me double check. Is there everything else I need to know? And Martell is talking, yeah, because I don't need to be around anybody that's lying to me. The biggest liar on the table don't want nobody lying to him. So then after they going back to all these discussions, Marceau mentioned something about having a hot dog with coleslaw on it. I got to get into that because I thought that was funny. But Maurice at that point told them, hey, let's go outside. So when they get outside, Marceau said, I'm hungry. I need me a sausage and some coleslaw. A lot of coleslaw. I want slaw all over my hot dog. And Martell's stupid butt looking here like an idiot. I don't even think he's so slow. I don't even think he caught it at first. And then they go into the confessional where Marceau said, hey, the internet has named her coleslaw, the side chick, whatever. And he said, hey, he said, I fight fire with gas. You piss me off, I'm going to piss you off even more. And like I said, prior to coming outside, he was heated because Martell said in front of all of those men that your wife got screwed by one of my friends and I watch. How embarrassing is that for a man to hear that about his wife and you blurted it out like it wasn't nothing? Again, Martell is freaking slow. So after that, Will steps up and Maurice, and they're just trying to get to the root of the problem. Like, how did we get here? Now, I remind you, and I have to say this one more time because I just thought it was so funny when Barceau said he wanted some coleslaw, a sausage with coleslaw, and he wanted to eat it in the back of a Buick. I'm telling you, I know that got under Martell's skin because of the way he looked. The way he looked at Marceau, but Marceau was like, hey, you drew the first punch, I'm coming back. Like he said, hey, at the end of the day, you start the fire, I'm pouring gasoline on it. So get back to Will. Him and Maurice is trying to figure out where this come from. And the strange thing about this conversation, it seemed like Maurice was more on Martell's side than Marceau's, but I digress. So they was like, look, here's basically the history. Martell was like, hey, Marceau was struggling and we created this company called Scope because he had just got fired from the movie theater and Marceau said, pump your brakes. I was working at the movie theater. I had a 12 unit apartment complex, a 6 unit apartment complex. He owned like 10 homes and he had a 4 unit apartment complex. Now, Fletcher chimed in like, ooh, that's kind of, that's a lot. I don't know if I believe all that. That's just not adding up. If you had all this property, why are we working at the movie theater? But who knows? We're gonna have to believe it for now. So they kept going back and forth, and then Maurice cut in and he was like, look, Martell was concerned about Marceau being young with kids and being married. They decided to build this business together. And after business get off the ground, I guess they was gonna sell it and go their separate ways. And then Martell, he just kept going in and out, in and out. And Marceau was like, no, that ain't it. You're just pissed off. you're bitter because your marriage is over. Basically, he's telling him you what everybody else has been saying and probably thinking and won't freaking say. You mad because you got caught and your marriage is over and the rest of us are still thriving. See, you were the kingpin for a while. You and your ex-wife, they was y'all running around Huntsville being the power couple, and you destroyed that on your own. And you mad because you no longer have that and everybody else is still intact. And so you're jealous, so you want to come back after everybody. And like he said, deep down inside, you always thought you was better than me. And now you're up here, you're down here, and I'm up here, and you the one got caught cheating, and you want to take everybody down with you. And he's right. He is exactly right. He said the lies need to stop. You went and did this interview. Were you satisfied after that interview? Of course, Martell said, yeah, I was very satisfied. I don't understand. What did you get out of it? What he basically, and then Marsau was saying, hey, I don't mess with him because I don't freaking like liars. And I don't blame him because all he did was lie, lie, lie the whole time, him and his girl on that interview. I think everything Marsau was saying was stuff that was built up inside and he'd been wanting to say to Martell. But he's exactly right. You ruined your marriage. You mad because their marriages are still intact. You thought you was better than them. You have dropped down the ladder to the bottom. They're still climbing their way up to the top. And when it's all said and done, they still will have their businesses. They still will have their wife and family. And you and Ariane or Coleslaw, whatever you want to call her this week, are sitting over there trying to scheme and figure out how to make money off of other people's misery. You down there at the courthouse harassing your wife, and allegedly she called herself going to sue her for threatening to whip her ass on TikTok. That's just what the word on the street is. I don't know how true that is. That's why I say allegedly. You still harassing her, accusing her of messing with her bodyguard. So what? Why do you care who she messed with? It doesn't make sense. You messing with the side piece that broke up your marriage and you have a baby by him. Doesn't make sense. You and Ariana are scratching the bottom of the barrel trying to stay relevant, and nobody gives a shit about y'all. And that's what Marsau was trying to get out. And they figured out this is not going to end well. I don't think there's ever going to be peace. And like Marsau said, F you, we ain't never fucking being friends. I'm done with you. And for some reason, Maurice is like, well, we need to figure this out. Maurice, why are you so scared of Martell? What does Martell have on you? Because you should be standing next to your freaking brother in this argument. It seemed like you're standing over there with Martell for no reason. Marsau is your brother. And the reason I say Maurice is taking Martell's side, I don't understand it, but it just seems like he was trying to make Marsau understand where Martell is coming from. Maurice, you were sitting in that limo when your brother made the comment about Martell being a busy little bee. Marsau said he heard that. He apologized to Martell, told him he wouldn't talk about them anymore, and he hasn't. And then Martell's like, well, I mean, y'all study spreading lies on me and spreading lies. What lie is Marsau telling on you? That you got the side chick pregnant, that you left your wife, that you stole her money. There's no lies. This is out there for the world to see, Martell. And Marsau is correct when he said y'all on every blog, you and your girl, but Maurice and Marsau trying to make everybody believe they're out there cheating as bad as you guys was. They probably were. But at least whatever they did, they hid it and they hid it well. And they weren't the ones that got caught. You did. And like he said, hey, you're up here trying to destroy us. Like, were you satisfied when you did the interview? And you like, yeah, I'm satisfied. I get Marsau's being pissed off at him. And I also understand why Marsau said, I ain't messing with you no more. And then he said, hey, you supposed to be my boy. He said, I ain't your effing boy. I ain't your effing boy. I get it, Marsau. I understand why you don't want to mess it. That is not a friend. And I don't think their friendship will ever be the same. And he's exactly right. Martell is sitting up there talking about they lying on me, they lying on me. Marsau has not said anything. After you told him to stop, he stopped. When they bring the conversation up, he doesn't mention it. Now, maybe Letitia and Kimmy and them may have cracked some jokes and said some stuff, but Marsau hasn't said much at all. At the end of the day, Marsau was the only one on the show that showed any compassion to your ex-wife, would sit down and have a conversation with her without walking away or getting mad. He was the only one that showed her any respect. Everybody else act like they couldn't stand being around her. But that's the one that you had to beef with. You didn't have the beef with, the bloggers who was putting it out. You didn't have a beef with your baby mama Coleslaw who was putting out the negative stuff. But you had a beef with Marsau and your ex. Martell, you real slow. So anyway, they kind of just kept going back and forth, kept going back and forth. Shots fired, shots fired. Maurice finally realized this ain't working. So we gonna go ahead and have to call this quits and maybe come to an agreement that we probably ain't gonna get along no time soon and maybe meet this at another day. And he said Martell and Marceau need to meet on their own by themselves, which I think is a good idea. So, and then after that, they go back to Lance and his stepbrother Twan and I'm sorry, his mother Nell discussing the whole date and destiny thing, and the two young men seem to be okay with it. But I will say this now. It depends on your flavor, because Lance is as beautiful is a handsome young man, and his stepbrother's god brother is also a very handsome young man. Just depend on your flavor. And they disagree with it, and they'll say, I just don't like it. I don't like it because she knows somehow or another she'll be caught in the middle. And at the very end, her and Destiny have the sit down, Nell and Destiny. And I thought it was really nice. And I actually seen again a different part of Destiny. Like I said before, Destiny was never really showed a lot of emotion, but for whatever reason, she had a lot of respect for Nell. And she did, value their friendship. But I just didn't like when she was saying, well, you coach me a lot. I'm like, y'all keep talking about Mel ain't no mentor, Mel ain't no coach, but then you sitting there saying Mel did coach you. You said Nell, and you said Nell was mothering to you, that mothering part of your life that you didn't have. And, they kind of cried together. She told her how she felt about her dating, the godson. I don't know if Destiny going to continue to date him, but she said, hey, if that's what y'all want to do, y'all grown. I appreciate that. Um, and it kind of ended in a good light. Again, I'm not knocking Destiny because I felt like that was the first time I actually seen maybe some truth, some real emotion out of Destiny. Because, like Lance said, Destiny doesn't seem like she care about anything or anybody. She doesn't give you a lot. Um, she just said, "Hey, at the end of the day, Destiny is just trying to find her forever." Now, Nell did mention. She said, Destiny, you done dated Moses, Jalen, Lance, Antoine. And it kind of looked bad, Destiny. It's like Nell was a little acting like you out there thotting around the streets of Huntsville. But, at the end of the day, I understood it. She say, hey, I'm just trying to find my forever, whoever that may be. And Destiny did show a little emotion. And I'm glad they kind of walked out there on a better slate. But what I will say is, I know Huntsville is small. Like I said, I've been there before. Is these the only men in Huntsville, or they the only quote celebrity type men, and that's why everybody trying to chase these people? It can't be that small. It really can't be, because y'all. Again, I'll just leave it at that. Um, and that was the end of the scene. I'm glad we seen a little bit of emotion out of Destiny. I'm glad that's the thing, Destiny. Open up a little bit more, because you so hard and stiff. And Lance hit it on the buzzer when he said, I don't think Destiny really do care or really feel anything, because that's what you give. And if you give that to us off the television screen who don't know you, and this man was seeing you in real life and dating you in real life, and he felt the same way, then we can all be wrong. So stop focusing on what Martell got going on or Mel got going on, whatever, and focus on being better. And I can see this particular season, you have softened up a little bit. You hard, and I don't know if it's because your ex-castmate is gone, so you don't have nobody to be nasty to. Because you seem to know how to be real nasty with her. But when you're around Tisha and Kim, you're real calm and polite. When you're around Nell, you're real calm and polite. So it does kind of look like y'all really teamed up on that girl, because everybody's nice to each other now. But when she was on the show, the minute she walked in the room, y'all all changed, and then everybody would attack her. So what the bloggers and the content creators was saying about how she felt like she was on the show by herself, it was like her against everybody on the show. It kind of looks like that. Tish didn't like her for whatever reason, started talking sideways. Nell was constantly chewing her out. Destiny was chewing her out. Kimmy act like she couldn't stand her. Letitia didn't want to be around. Y'all really did treat her bad because now that y'all around each other, I don't y'all behavior has softened up. Y'all don't argue with each other as much. Y'all willing to talk things out. And y'all don't treat her and have the same energy toward each other that y'all had toward her. So I don't blame her for walking away. And that's what I got out of this episode. But in this episode, Marsau, you was the winner. Well, I thank you for saying everything that we all wanted to be said to this man because everybody else is scared to say something because apparently he must got dirt on him. But thank you, Marsau, for standing up. Martell, I'm sorry. Last week when you stood up to Maurice, you kind of won that one. This week, Marsau ate you. He ate you for dinner. He ate this week. And in my opinion, Marsau is the MVP of Love and Marriage Huntsville this season. All right. And with that being said, this is Generation X Nation. Likes, share, leave a comment. I appreciate everybody who leaves comments. You guys make sure that you go on to have a good day. Don't let the ways of the world weigh you down because it's going to be a rough another 3 years. If we don't do something, it's going to be rough. But hey, all you can do is hope and pray and hope God is on our side and whatever happens, happens. All right. Um, Also, I just want to say, Love and Marriage Huntsville, the fans of the show, y'all are some very, very passionate people, and y'all are locked in to whoever you like or don't like, and I appreciate that. But remember, like content creators as myself, who had these small channels, we don't. I'm not monetized. We don't get paid, so everything is basically my opinion, and that's it. Opinions are based on your life experiences. All right, I don't love or hate anybody. Don't have a dog in a fight. So I don't I mean, I'll respond to I don't care if you leave a positive or negative comment. Any comment is better than no comments at all. But I'm not the type of content creator that will argue back and forth with people I really don't know. But leave a comment. If and I'm terrible, I don't care if you say that. I'll still give you a thumbs up. I just like your opinion. You have an opinion to say I'm terrible. There's a lot going on in these YouTube streets, and I don't want any parts of it. And I just hope we can do better, especially as Black women, because it seems to be the drama in our demographic. And there's enough going on with us right now, with the world treating us the way they do. For us to be fighting amongst each other is just kind of crazy to me. So I wish everybody peace and blessings and have a great rest of your day. And this is Gen X Nation, and I'm out.